This video is going to be a audible version of the TWID for you to listen to. You do not need to watch this video. If you're working, if you're doing some chores, whatever you may be doing, you can have this video on and you have the TWAB, the TWID, as an audible version and you can listen to it. This TWID is massive, it's huge. So here's what it's going to cover. I'm not going to read everything word for word, but I'm going to do my best because it's a very long TWID. So this is really going to push my limit on how long I can talk for. Let's see the time on this TWID. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. So yeah, use this video as a radio station. Use it as an audible, however you like. So this is what the TWID's going to break down. They had a live stream on Tuesday. A new Right of the Nine challenge. Announcing our world's first race hosts. GCX, here we go. Kepler, restricted brief. Weapons, power and economy updates. Destiny 2 open access. Bungie Day is almost here. They say thanks for watching. Here's the trailer of Edge of Fate. I'll let you watch that in your own time. We covered a lot of topics about, during our first section, unlockable World Tier difficulties for the campaign side quests that you can unlock after completing it. Matter Ball Banes, a free player activity that uses the abilities you unlock in Kepler. The new destination is filled with many secrets, and Guardians are tasked with uncovering all of them and choosing how hard the challenge they want to face. Also, what's going on with the fungi. And here's a shot of the portal. Next, we talk about the depth of the portal. We have a lot of activities available in our new hub, from Onslaught to some favourite seasonal activities like the Coil. You can choose from a big pool of modifiers to tune the experience and up the challenge in order to get the bonus rewards. The goal is to make activities not more rewarding and personalised, but also to make them easier to understand. There are tons of new ways to enjoy the favourite game with Solo Ops, Fireteam Ops, Crucible Ops, Pinnacle Ops, plus a section dedicated to activities like exotic missions that will get their unique rewards to make it easy to understand and follow. We have reworked Guardian ranks to focus on the portal and its activities. We also have the new season hub with weekly ranks, daily and weekly challenges and tons more gear to earn. That resets every week. If you complete the conquests also available at this hub and progress through the different difficulty settings, you will also earn the renewed Conqueror title. Don't worry if you've already gilded it a few times, you will keep your marks. And we don't forget about power in the Edge of Fate. We have a whole section in this TWID about it, with many more details, so we'll skip it here. Just keep scrolling and you'll get there. For now, just don't get too worried about power level 10 when you start playing our next expansion. And then there's a ton about the recap. Here's a developer stream. Right of the Nine final update. As we move into the final 2 weeks of Right of the Nine, we wanted to share some updates coming next week to close with a bang. Do you remember Daybreak? Yeah, the old school modifier where your abilities recharge like crazy. How fun would it be to turn on for the Explorer mode version of Right of the Nine Dungeons for next week? Because it's happening right now. Fetch your friends, put on some destructive supers and go farm like mad. Remember that on top of weapons you can also use your non-honorary manifold to earn non-honorary engrams that contain some favourite cosmetics. Additionally, in preparation for the Edge of Fate, 2 Servants of the Nine are binging gifts to Guardians. Both Zerdan and Emissary will have desirable exotic that will be part of the feature gear, and one for the new expansion. Bring your strange coins and non-honorary manifolds and snag some loot. As a final reminder, here's the picture for the next 2 weeks. Current week, Prophecies feature with increased rewards. Until 15th of July, players can earn non-honorary engrams. Starting July 1st, players may purchase non-honorary engrams using 350 manifolds of the Emissary, up to 20 during Right of the Nine. Starting July 8th, players will be awarded 1 additional honorary engram each day just for signing in. Just be sure to claim it from the Emissary. July 8th and July 15th, Lootapalooza will begin from July 8th. Increased currency rewards and weapon drops from enemies in all dungeons. Even more increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters. A new challenge appears. We also have one last Right of the Nine dungeon hurrah before we dive into the next expansion. The team at Destiny Tracker are running 2 weekends of challenges around Prophecy and Spire to wrap up the Right of the Nine. From July 4 to 6 PT, complete Prophecy on Eternity mode as fast as you can, and July 11 to 13 PT, Completes by the time as fast as possible. You can do solo, duo, or with full fire team. You can win prizes such as silver, one of the 9 exclusive Star Horse inspired headphone holders fabricated by Hench and Scrap, and a premium right of the 9 themed PC until created by Overkill. Here's the horse thing. That's actually interesting. And then there's a video about this PC. That's interesting. Finally, all participants will sign up, will receive the 9 crown emblem. Destiny Tracker will provide more details on how to redeem. For more information around the 2 weekends of challenges, you can refer to Destiny Tracker's page here, blah, blah, blah. World's first race is back, Guardians. We have new raid for July 19th, and you know that means there will be a new World First race where the most capable teams around the globe will conquer the contest mode and fight to be the first team to complete the raid. We're excited to confirm that we have partnered once again with the wonderful CB Great and Evan F to bring you the raid race again, live from Bungie HQ this time. Stay tuned to next week's tweet for more information on what channels to follow, the schedules, the international hosts we will support, and you will earn beautiful Power Hues emblem you can see below. That's the emblem. So that's the emblem for participation of the stream. That's not the raid emblem. Bungie at GCX. I'm not going to read this, but there's GCX information there for you. I'm not going to read that. That emblem is amazing though, man. What a good emblem that is. I can't go to GCX. I won't be able to go to it. So I'm not going to read it, but it's there for you to read about. Right, this is more law stuff. So brief 001, and it starts talking about sort of law things. I will cover the bullet points. The House of Exile. Classification. Ilinsky House. Unknown fungal symbiosis. Hazards. Standard Ilinsky armaments, mines and traps. Modified armament, strand spears, stasis screen. Heightened reactions and subdued pain response. Telepathic receptive. Intel. I'm not going to read the intel. This is more law stuff. Okay? But it's good though. But I've got a lot to read in this tweet, so I'm going to have to gloss over a couple of things. More law stuff. Right? Of note, I'll read this. Exiles on Kepler seem to have undergone a sort of fungal symbiosis with local fauna. It is no unknown why or how this happened, but the fungus appeared to feed from the dark matter, or the singularity from Exiles Reaver at the heart of Kepler. There appears to be a sort of a stylistic hierarchy among the Exiles, while it affords no actual authority. The size, shape and unique features of fungal growths supported on their armour or hosted on their chitin impact relationships, respect and clout within the house. Initial reports suggest the House of Exile was not always hostile and at the one time even worked alongside the Ionian population of Kepler. Alright, there you go. So you've had that bit. Weapon tuning for Edge of Fate. Okay, let's just go right into it. We're trying out something new for Destiny on machine guns, stage reloads. Machine guns generally have very long reload animations. That can be very punishing when cancelled. We have added several checkpoints from which the animation can now be resumed. If it's interrupted mid-reload, this is a feature we are rolling out on machine guns first, but we plan to expand this to other weapon types in the future. Machine guns now have a stage reload. Stage reloads places checkpoints in the reload animation. When a player cancels a reload animation starts again, it will resume from the last checkpoint. Okay, I'm going to just read the bullet points. Glaives. Reduced projectile track and strength at very close range to avoid a behaviour that made the projectiles less accurate. Perks. Reconstruction. By the way, there's thoughts at the end of the video. At the end of it. Reconstruction. Increase the amount of ammo transitions per activation from 10 to 25%. Paracausal affinity. Added a visible timer to the buff. Kinetic tremors. Decrease shots to activate on certain weapons and subfamilies. High impact auto rifles require 9 hits down from 12. Aggressive and high impact scouts require 5 hits down from 6. Hand cannon subfamilies have received specific tuning. Aggressive hand cannons require 4 hits down from 6. Adaptive hand cannons require 5 hits down from 6. Precision hand cannons are unchanged and still require 6 shots to activate. 1-2 punch. Now works with all melee abilities. There you go. Sudden death. Perk active time increased from 1.2 to 3 seconds. Alright. Attrition orbs. Attrition orbs is coming too powerful. No. Increase perk progress by 20% across the board. Reduced perk progress by 80% with original GLs. This is surprising, not as noticeable as it sounds. Increased perk progress by an additional 30% on swords. Thoughts at the end, remember, Eager Edge and Valiant Charge, while active, melee search angle is now reduced by 50% at the start of the lunge range and by 88% of the edge of lunge range. This requires the playback loop more at the target to strike it, improving specific target acquisition in PvE and requiring a more direct look in PvP. Chain reaction. Threadlings created by weapon perks will no longer activate the detonation from chain reaction. Chain reaction, Dragonfly and Firefly information. Chain reaction, Dragonfly and Firefly no longer use weapon archetype scaling against combatants and instead use a new perk damage scaling that is more normalized between different weapon types. This buff many weapons with these perks against most targets. Here's some of the biggest winners for this change. Fusion rifles deal 41% more damage. Chain reaction damage is to minor combatants. SMGs deal 43% more Dragonfly and Firefly damage to minor combatants. Auto rifles deal 47% more Dragonfly damage to minor combatants. LFR linear fusions deal 165% more chain reaction damage to minor combatants and at least 124% more chain reaction to all other combatants. Varies based on combatant type. Swords deal 123% more chain reaction damage to minor combatants and at least 193% more chain reaction damage to all other combatants. Varies slightly based on combatant type. Hand cannons deal 20% less Dragonfly and Firefly damage to major combatants only. Sniper rifles deal 8% less Firefly and Dragonfly damage to minor combatants. Special Ammo Wave Frame GL deals 6% less chain reaction damage to major champion and mini-boss combatants and 14% less damage to ultra and vehicle combatants. Champion interaction changes. In Season 20, we added the ability for subclass verbs in Ignition, Jolt, Suppression, etc. to stun champions and have added these verbs to weapon traits and various exotic weapons through rebalances. We quickly realised that the weapons had issues with paired with anti-champion effects from sources like the Artifact or Radiant. To prevent erratic behaviour, we barred certain exotics from gaining external anti-champ capabilities. It has become unclear to the player with exotic weapons are excluded, so we decided to address this issue formally. We now have made certain exotics weapons, most of which applied as subclass verb through gameplay, intrinsically anti-champ and will adhere to the following soft rule from now on. Here's the soft rule. Weapons that intrinsically have the anti-champ symbol in the weapon tray cannot receive anti-champ capabilities from the artifact or from Radiant-like effects. Otherwise, they can receive external anti-champ capabilities and be able to continue their subclass verb anti-champ capabilities. Exotic weapons, Vigil Swing, Last Stand bonus is now active when running solo in PvE activities. Hierarchy of needs. Players now gain charge of Guardian's Ring with any hit from Hierarchy of Needs and now only needs 3 charges to deploy the ring. Hierarchies spawn Guardian's Ring duration from 13 seconds to 20. Hierarchy Guardian's Ring now rotates to face its owner. Players are now limited to 1 Guardian's Ring in the world per player. Spawning a second one will remove your previous ring. All bows now spawn missiles when fired through an ally's played ring. Yes, all bows. Fixed an issue where Hierarchy Needs Seeker missiles would not play detonation visual effects when colliding with world geometry. Deadman's Tail. Each stack of Canal Spike grants 3.4% damage versus combatants, max 17% at 5 stacks, plus 1 rounds reloaded. Duality. Added a secondary activator on Black Wings, now gives the buff when landing most of your pellets on a target. Navigator. When the user has Woven Mail, increased damage 25% in PvE, 5% in PvP, increased ammo generation stat. Wicked Implement now is Rapid Fire RPM. Now takes 1 additional hit to start slowing and freeze to account for faster rate of fire. Increased mag size to 20 is now intrinsically Overload. Hard Shadow increased ammo reserves, reduced cost of heavy attack from 3 to 4. Added defeats while shot in the dark is active, make you invisible once more. Whirlline 0, increased lunge distance to heavy Terrasect attack by 3 meters. Removed the ability to chain 2 blink attacks back to back. Added a new effect, defeating a target with Terrasect allows you to Terrasect again for a short duration. These extra blink attacks cost less ammo and consumes less guard energy. Devil's Ruin. Removed fire on release behavior. Beam is now behind special reload. Kills with the weapon make fire sprites and pick up fire sprites enable the special reload. Beam now scorches on hit and ignites on kill. Increases mag size to 20. Is now intrinsic unstop. Tommy's Matchbook added a burning screen effect while the player takes self-damage from ignition trigger. Other players who are taking self-damage from ignition trigger will now have a burning effect surrounding their model. Ignition trigger, the HUD buff now appears as a bar. While ignition trigger is active, the bar charges as you fire the weapon and drains when you don't, so as long as the bar has some charge, ignition trigger will remain active. Hipfire self-damage decreased to 50% less damage than ADS self-damage, previously 33%. Catalyst removed, improved health regen. Now final blows while ignition trigger is active grant cure instead to the user. Scorch on hit is unchanged. Winter Bite, the glaive. Reduced enhanced melee damage with ammo to plus 20% versus bosses, down from plus 50%. This is to account for this now being able to receive melee damage bonus from a variety of sources in now intrinsic overload. Anti-champ changes. So, unstartable weapons are Queensbreaker, Salvation's Grip, Dragon's Breath, Overload, Tractor Cannon, Darcy, Two-Tailed Fox. Condition finality can be Overload or Unstartable depending on which element is active. Regarding PvP, for those of you looking for PvP turn numbers, we're aware of the math in terms of balancing around fixed health value. I'll skip this PvP bit. I don't need to talk about it. Powering the Edge of Fate. With the reimagining of Destiny 2's core experience comes a refreshed version of player power. We've overhauled now how you earn power and what happens to your journey across the season to be a more meaningful experience. We've also removed weekly barriers and are giving you more agency in choosing how you want to level up. Earning power will be more intuitive than ever before, with activities even offering a reward forecast that enables you to plan rewards, increase your power by overcoming greater challenges and higher tiers of both armor and weapons that will come additional stats and benefits. Refresh and power. The first thing you'll notice when you log into Edge of Fate is the power refresh. Power inflation over the years has created a huge numbers that can be confusing and intuitive, particularly for new for new and returning players. When the Edge of Fate releases on July 15th, power will be refreshed to stat of power 10 at much cleaner and more intuitive experience. Legacy power will still be visible on the power tooltip, shown when you hover over it. Power numbers based on the character screen if you want to know what your power will be in the old system. That's odd. The power band. In the updated power band from 10 to 200, power will work as it traditionally did when playing up to previous soft cap. You'll see progress just by finding gear access to whatever you want to play, from the new Edge of Fate expansion to PvP to patrolling your favourite classic destination. Playing activities on the portal will offer increased progression, while complete missions and finding secret chests in the Fate Saga expansions will offer the fastest progression. Lots of activity content will exist in Power Band, including the entire Edge of Fate expansion pack, event activities, all legacy content, and even the new redacted raid. While these activities won't ask you to earn more than 200 power to play at maximum effectiveness, they may offer rewards above 200 when played at higher difficulties. More on that later. During the climb to power cap of 200, you may be able to earn tier 1, tier 2 and even occasional tier 3 drops. The gear is as strong as legendary or even adept weapons from before the Edge of Fate. Your progress up to power cap will also stick around the new season when Destiny 2 Renegades releases in December, giving you consistent access to gear as strong or even better than when you're used to a lot of tons of activities that you play. Seasonal bonus power. Since Shadowkeep, the seasonal artifact has offered a way to increase your power above the power cap through artifact power. While this was a great way to gain advantage in high power activities, it wasn't consistent with finding new, better gear, driven instead by XP. It incentivized behaviours like bounty farming that didn't quite focus on overcoming new and greater challenges. In the Edge of Fate season, power bonus will now live right on your weapons and armour instead on the seasonal artifact by overcoming harder challenging PvE as optimized by you, or challenging yourself in competitive and trials for PvP. You can earn gear with great amounts of seasonal power bonus that will increase your level of power beyond the cap. There are no longer weekly limits on how much progress you can earn either, so you can climb power as long as you want to play, just like artifact power bonus before. These seasonal bonuses levels are limited to the current season, and any weapons above the power cap, this will be back to 200 at the start of the next season. Here's some pictures about all that stuff. Bonus power and rewards. As with the climb to power of 200, by increasing your power level further with seasonal bonus power, you will be able to earn, even in higher tiers of armor and engram and weapons with even greater benefits. When the Age of Fate first launches, you will be able to increase your power as much as total of 450, earning high enough grades from portal activities can give consistent growth all the way up to 400. Total power 400 to 450 will be first come from upgraded prime engrams, which drop with both higher power and higher gear tier. Then your regular rewards achieve higher grades in portal activities, improves your chance of finding prime engrams, which are no longer limited by week. With the Ash and Iron major update later this season, you will be able to earn total power of all the way up to 550. Regular rewards from portal activities will be able to drop 500 power, and prime engrams will again award up to hard cap of 550. Those who reach 500 power will be rewarded with regular drops of the highest tier of weapons and armor, tier 5. The gear comes with both unique aesthetic qualities and the highest stats, so being able to consistently farm them will be an aspirational journey for the most ambitious guardians. And make sure to regularly check what's going in the portal, challenges on the seasonal hub, and events, both way to get some bonus power progression. Okay, so Infusion. Infusion is a great way to increase the power of your favourite items, but needing a constant supply of upgrade modules do it was a hassle. We're simplifying Infusion to instead use enhancement cores directly, so you no longer need to make consistent trips to Banshee. Any upgrade modules you may have in inventory at the start of the Age of Fate can be safely dismantled to reclaim 5,000 Glimmer and 1 enhancement core, the same price that Banshee 4481 sell them for. You can infuse levels of seasonal bonus power into your favourite gear with the new currency called Unstable Cores. While you'll find unstable cores from a variety of sources, the primary way to acquire them is by dismantling unneeded gear that has seasonal bonus power levels. The higher the bonus power of the item you dismantle, the greater number of unstable cores you receive. Likewise, infusing items with a larger differences in power will take more unstable cores. Unstable cores will have a large inventory cap, and it will be refreshed at the start of the next season alongside seasonal bonus power. Quality of life. With the Edge of Fate, the power climb should be more intuitive than ever before. Seasonal bonus power offers a refreshed play journey for the highest tiers of gear every season while keeping numbers understandable and meaningful. The reward forecast for many activities will preview exactly what power your reward will be when you reach the target score. With the new core game modifier system, you can even curate what kind of challenge you're in for, allowing everybody's power journey to be uniquely tailored to how they want to play. Portal content will also feature a new daily bonus focused rewards across both PvE and PvP, which allow you to target earning power on gear for a specific slot that you might be missing to round out your average. Both account-wide power progression and Fireteam power introduced in Final Shape will be sticking around as well, so your progress will carry over to your other characters and you can play with your friends. Let me just see how much more of the TWAB is there, because this is massive. This is ridiculous. Why don't they just spread this out? It's too big to read all this. Economy updates in Edge of Fate. In the Edge of Fate, we're taking a deep look at our core activities in-game economies and rebuilding them along with the rest of the game. Core game activities, solo ops, fireteam ops, pinnacle ops, and so on will be your primary source of glimmer, strange coins, and masterwork materials. These rewards will scale alongside your gear with battle with better rewards from higher difficulty content. As you can see below, a lot is changing with this, and you continue to evolve over the seasons based on your feedback analytics. Please keep it going. Armor Masterworking. Along with Masterworking Armor 3.0, a new piece of armor will have their cost change depending on the tier of the armor piece. In our Edge of Fate stream, we mentioned that the armor now drops with energy completely filled in. So players can begin to build crafting immediately with armor mods. Masterwork and armor is now focused on increasing stats. If you want to reach your full stat potential, you want to fully masterwork your armor. The higher of the tier of the armor, the more it costs. We want players to engage with the masterwork system without them worrying about wasting materials on lower tier gear. Additionally, armor now has 5 masterwork levels rather than 10. If you notice the cost of tier 5 in the table below, don't worry just yet. We're rebalancing the distribution of masterwork materials pretty dramatically when the Edge of Fate arrives. Enhancement prisons will become a bit more common than they are, where previously to better fit their role between enhancement cores and these 7 shards. In core game activities, you'll also have a chance for major enemies to drop materials such as masterwork materials, maybe even some other goodies. Here's a table of that. So just going through it, it's a table. You can look at it yourself. Destination materials. So it's just sunsetting. Here's a list of what they're sunsetting. Finest matter weave, dust light shard, microscopic data lattice, barium buff, helium filament, glacial star wart, spin metal leaves. Activity reward changes. Vanguard, Ops, Onslaught. Brave Arsenal weapons will be moved to the part of Xur's wares. Only the standard non-fall versions of these weapons will be available. Zavala will no longer offer Onslaught attunement. Nightfalls. Nightfall weapons are now legacy gear. Nightfall loot pool will now be updated to include all previous Nightfall weapons that have origin traits. Nightfall rewards are on knockout list until and all Nightfall weapons have been unlocked. From then on, all Nightfall weapons have a flat drop chance to drop. Grandmaster Nightfalls no longer exist as their purpose and function have been transferred to the portal screen and conquests. You will still experience Grandmaster difficulty just in other activities. I don't like how they're wording this, but I guess I understand it. Legacy rituals, activities that don't offer tier gear required some adjustments in the new system. Ritual reputation reward tracks have been removed. Ritual engrams have been removed. Legacy focusing remains, but costs have been updated with the removal of ritual engrams. Legacy armor and legacy weapons will cost 15,000 glimmer, free enhancement cores. Okay, there's going to be a massive Xur update. So let's just read what they're doing. Xur will not sell legendary armor in Edge of Fate. All of Xur's legendary armors will move to Ada 1, where she will sell them for cosmetic purposes. Xur will now sell 2 exotic armor pieces per class per week. One will be from existing pools of exotics that Xur has always sold. One will be from the Beyond Light, Witch Queen, Lightfall, Found Shape pools. Players must own expansions to these exotics associated to purchase them from Xur. Xur will continue to sell catalysts, but they have moved to the Strange Coin offer submenu. Xur will sell exotic class items every week. Players still need to acquire the exotic class items from Dual Destiny before Xur will allow to purchase exotic class items. So players still need to acquire the exotic class items from Dual Destiny. You still need to do Dual Destiny. Xur will sell 9 legendary weapons per week, 3 weapons per slot, class-specific swords, which aren't swords anymore, as in Xur's inventory, but will not be available every week. Xur has Brave Arsenal weapons added to his inventory. Xur has Legacy, Nightfall and Trials weapons added to his inventory. Rare chance at adept weapons showing up. Standard weapons will cost 17 strange coins. Adept weapons cost 41 coins. Xur has had weapons from Echoes, Revenant and Heresy added to its inventory. Rare chance at adept heresy weapons. Standard weapons 17. Adept weapons 41 coins. Xur has had Legacy, Crucible weapons added to his inventory. Xur will no longer sell Nightfall ciphers, Gambit engrams, Crucible engrams, Vanguard engrams, upgrade modules. Ada 1. Ada will be offering up to 20 threaded bounties per season per class. Ada's inventory of legacy armors has been expanded to include armors previously distributed by Xur. Legacy armor will cost 15,000 glimmer, free enhancement cores. Ada will offer players who have made it to the tower for the first time for the Edge of Fate armor tokens to be used to roll for exotic armors with new stat packages. Players must have unlocked an item in collections before it is eligible to re-roll on Ada 1. These tokens are a one-time offer. These offers will disappear from ADA when all tokens have been spent. No new armors will be added to this in the future, so there's no benefit to hardened tokens. Transmog bounties have been overhauled. PvE bounties that can be completed anywhere in PvE no longer sends players to specific destinations, i.e. Blamwell, Altars of Sorrow. PvP bounties that can be completed in any PvP mode at all. Raids and dungeons unchanged from previously. Banshee 44 reputation rank reward track has been removed. Bounties no longer provide gunsmith rep. Dismantling gear no longer provides gunsmith rep. Banshee will no longer sell upgrade mods. Gunsmith engrams has been removed from the game. Legacy weapons will cost 15k glimmer free cause. Rahul, the Cryptab reputation ranks has been removed. New exotic armors in the Edge of Fate will be unlocked via completing the legendary campaign and not through Rahul, unlocked per class. Novel focusing for exotic armors from past expansions will be available to players immediately with no need to decrypt engrams to unlock it. Costs remain the same for novel focusing. Focusing submenu has been reordered to put the most used screens up front. Ghost mods. Let's just read the bullet points. Previous Armor Ghost mods will be depreciated as they no longer match the stats on armors post V900. They will be replaced with a new set of Armor Ghost mods. Some Activity Ghost mods have been depreciated. We plan to add new Activity Ghost mods in the future release. Isarian Ciphers and Nightfall Ciphers will not have a use in Edge of Fate, but they will remain in your inventory, and we are not deleting them. We have plans for them in Destiny 2 Renegades, and we will tell you about it when our plans are more advanced. Destiny 2 expansion open access. So this is basically saying that as of July 8th, it's going to be free on all platforms. All the expansions, as far as I'm reading it, for PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, Microsoft, and anything that you earn, that gear-wise, that week is yours. This is what this open access is. It was already on discount on Steam, but now it's going to. All the expansions are free from July 8th to July 22nd, I believe. So then there's the Bungie Day. I'm not covering the Bungie Day, but it's there for you to look at. What else have we got? I'll read these Destiny Content Vault updates. With the start of Year 8 of Destiny 2, certain items will be depreciated from player inventories that correspond with Vault activities and seasonal campaigns. They will then be moved into Destiny Content Vault. We have updated the Destiny Content Vault article to reflect these changes and create a new article fully outlining these items for players to reference. Claim your seasonal rewards. Both Episode Heresy and Rite of the Nine end on July 15. Make sure to claim any expiring rewards before they're gone, including Episode Heresy seals and rewards, season pass items, vendor rewards, ritual vendor engrams, Bungie rewards, etc. Astral Drake helmet. It's about it clipping into certain armor or something. But there is something interesting here. When the Edge of Fate launches, players who own the Astral Stasis Drake Hunter armor set will be able to claim the new hoodless variant of the helmet from the special deliveries kiosk. The bonus option will also be available to anyone who purchased the armor set going forward. So that is the Astral Stasis Drake. I don't even have it. Let's cover the known issues and then we go to thoughts. The Eternal title doesn't count towards an account's total titles. The Ascension aspect isn't working with certain armor mods and exotic armors. The Champ title has lost its gilded status. Steps 6 and 9, Dawn and Labyrinth's quests aren't able to complete by some players. Due to this quest being a fix between character scoped and account scoped if you have an alternate character. I've read these before. Sometimes in the Derail's exotic missions there's issues. When Track and Ikoro's Drown Labyrinth quest, there's also issues. Memento shaders can be previewed on armor. This is not intended. Well, that's how it is. Sacred Filaments and Spirit Filaments is still bugged. They haven't fixed it with faster protection. Artist of the Week, Movie of the Week, etc. Alright, so that's a massive TWAB. So now it's the thoughts section of this. One bit of feedback for Bungie is they don't need to overreach on these TWABs. They're far too big. I mean, look at from someone like me, I'm a very good talker. Being able to read this word for word out to somebody, if I was to read everything, it's 55 minutes. People haven't got that time to do that. If they're overreaching on a TWAB and next week's TWAB is light, just give us half information today and half information next week. TWAB's far too big. And a lot of it's repeating itself as well. You notice, like, they're saying about certain items being sunset, so then the sunset from there, or the sunset from here, and then the sunset from there, and they're repeating themselves 4, 5, 6 times. Who's wrote this article? It's good, but it's too reaching. It's far too big. Right, fourth side, thoughts. Okay, let's just scroll through. So first you've got the portal. I'm not going to give too much thoughts on the portal right now because I need to play it myself. People are complaining about how it's not like the directory, and it's... Do you realise in the past people have complained about the directory, and people don't like the directory? It's only Bungie fanboys that like the directory. A lot of players have played it and said, why does it take 3-4 menus to get to Pathfinder menu? In the past, yeah, sometimes you launch up the game, it takes 3-4 menus to get to where you want. The portal may streamline it to make it easier. It's just a menu, just like the directory is a menu. And don't consider the portal to be a Fortnite version of D2. I mean, it's straightforward. All it wants is it wants you to get into an activity quicker and get to where you need to be. Because ultimately, all this menu stuff is just support. It's nothing to do with your actual gameplay loop of getting into an activity and playing. If anything, it's going to be better. Right? But I'll talk about that as we go along. Right? Right of the 9 update. Thoughts on this? They went too slow with the update. This stuff with the buff, with the modifier called Daybreak, yeah? This one here. Now, if you've seen, I've been soloing D1 Nightfalls, and that modifier is on D1 Nightfalls still now. Daybreak buffs all your abilities so that everything's mayhem. They should have done this at the start of the event or halfway through it. They should have given us 3 weeks and then boom, Daybreak. This was too late. Good idea. They come about it too late. But if you have not played Destiny 1, you're in for a treat with the Daybreak modifier. It's a good idea. They just left it too late to do this. Right? So keep an eye on Daybreak dungeons. You're going to have to play Right at the 9 again just to experience it. I know you don't need to play too much of it, but play a little bit to try out the mod. Alright, some videos here, yeah, but we're looking for thoughts. GCX, I'm not going, so I can't comment, but the emblem looks really good. Lore stuff on the enemies, yes. I mean, the new enemy types, they're not new enemy, I mean, the Fallen modified by this fungal stuff. Think of like, Siva enemies, they modified Fallen enemies. Bungie seems to have a bit of an obsession with modifying Fallen enemies. I mean, aren't Scorn modified versions of Fallen? You know, why is it that the Fallen they have to always modify? I think that, I would have preferred that they modified a different enemy race other than Fallen, or maybe a mixture of 2 enemy races modified with this fungal variant. But I don't know everything about it. But they are sure as hell trying to promote the hell out of this Fallen jetpack enemy type. And alright, well, I haven't seen enough bosses to commit to this enemy race and say, well, it's like a sort of new... It's like what Scorn enemies are to Fallen. Yeah, it's basically that. But we need to see more of this enemy type for me to truly say, yes, this is good or not. The jetpacks is an evolution of gameplay. It adds a bit more verticality to Fallen enemies, so it is a bit of a thing. But we'll have to see how the bosses are. Like, is there a jetpack Fallen boss that's big and he floats around? Is there one? Don't know. Right. Staged reload. They are buffer machine guns. And I've been cheesing machine guns for 2-3 years now with auto-load and holster mods. You can apply them to your boots. Very good for GM gameplay. So this has not affected me. And the staged reload's nice, but... yeah, it is annoying reloading a machine gun in Destiny 2. I agree with them. So this stage reload might incentivize for us to use all holster mods less. Maybe. depends on it. But it is nice that you keep animation progress. This is a bit of a big deal, and I consider this as a bit of a buff for machine guns. Glaives. I don't have problems with projectile track and strength. I don't know if you do, but they keep making changes to this projectile stuff. They've changed projectile tracking on glaives now 3 or 4 times since 2022. They keep changing them over and over. Nobody can get into any consistency with glaives because of this. Although glaives are very good in the game and people don't like to believe that, and they are. But they keep changing this stuff and it's just annoying people, I think. Just pick a way of how they work and stick to it. So this new melee buff that they're getting in Edge of Fate, let's stick to that buff for 12 months without changing them so that people can get used to glaives. Because that's one reason why glaives have failed since 2022 for the masses, is because people won't use them because they don't like them. They want fusion rifles. They want grenade launchers. They don't want glaives. Although I know the power of glaives in endgame and some of you don't. So some of you need to be educated on glaives. So it's a bit of Bungie's fault and it's a bit of your fault as well. Not mine, because I use glaives and you've seen me use them. And they are very important to the game. But this stuff, they need to stop changing glaives too much. Then we need a level playing ground. Reconstruction's getting a buff. Reconstruction's already OP. They're just buffing it. All right. I guess that's... Yeah, I don't know why. This is quite odd. Parkour's Affinity is amazing in the game. They're giving it a timer buff. That's just a quality of life. Kinetic Tremors. I am the Kinetic Tremor King. I'm the mascot of Kinetic Tremors. I know everything about Kinetic Tremors. And let me tell you, the rapid fire frame weapons in Destiny 2 are better for Kinetic Tremors. Looking at Randy's throwing knife, that is the best Kinetic Tremor primary in the game. At least long range engagements. I know multi-mac exists before multi-mac SMG loyalists spawn and try to fight me. Yes, I know that. But like in GMs and stuff, Randy's is incredible with good shot straight and Kinetic Tremors. They're even in the playing field because the slower rate of fire weapons do basically worse on Kinetic Tremor damage, and that is true. Transfiguration, that's going to get a buff basically. What you're going to know is this doesn't matter too much. It does. You take it as a W, but Kinetic Tremors is meta and still will be Kinetic Tremors meta next season unless they nerf Kinetic Tremors, and I suspect they will not because of this. Kinetic Tremor weapons, look at all of your weapons in your vault and do not be deleting a Kinetic Tremor weapons that you can't easily get it again. If you delete Kinetic Tremor weapons, if you delete Randy's with Kinetic Tremors, you're silly, man. Don't be deleting that. 1-2 punch. Right. So, 1-2 punch doesn't work with Song of Flame. Now it's going to. For example, all melee abilities work with 1-2 punch. Sudden Death Shotgun. I made a solo GM about it, didn't I? That shotgun's going to be incredible next season. Sudden Death, 1-2 punch, trench battle, amazing weapon. It's going to get a buff because of 1-2 punch buff. Attrition Orbs, Velocity Baton, what are we going to do? I told you Attrition Orbs is going to get nerfed, didn't I? I told you 6, 7, 8 weeks ago that this was going to happen. They're saying it doesn't sound as bad as it sounds, and it probably doesn't sound as bad as it sounds. Although 80% on GLs does sound bad to me. So I'm not convinced on them saying it doesn't sound that bad. This sounds worse than this actually sounds as bad as it sounds to me. I'll have to play it to see it. But they are basically nerfing Velocity Baton because that's the only weapon that's the problem. What they should have done, it pains me to say it, but they should have just nerfed Velocity Baton, not Attrition Orbs directly. Because Attrition Orbs is very handy on other weapons that it's not that strong on. I mean, it is strong and it's not. But on Baton it's an outlier, so I don't know about this. They should have just nerfed it for Velocity Baton, because that's the only problem. A primary with Attrition Orbs is not a problem in PV. Not even now is it not. Eager Edge changes, alright, some melee search angle, alright. Chain reaction has never been good for me in the game, and I don't really like chain reaction. It's a bit of my play style. I'm not really got this on my radar, but It's very odd, all of these changes that they've done. So fusion rifles dealing 31% more to miners is a bit of a non-factor because miners are not the issue in endgame content. Orange bars and champions and bosses are the issue. So what they're saying to you here is chain reaction and dragonfly and all that stuff's going to do more damage to red bar trash mobs. That's not addressing the issue. The issue with Destiny 2 endgame is that you need buffs and debuffs. Add clear perks, whilst are good and are needed for some things they're not needed for. Like, for example, chain reaction. I'd rather have attrition orbs than chain reaction right now in the game. Yeah? Chain reaction to me, it's just something for low-end stuff, patrol, low-end strikes. Chain reaction, you try it out in GMs, not very good perk. It might be a bit better after these changes, but the point of it is, chain reaction is not going to do much damage against champions and stuff. They've even said it. Yeah? Reduced damage, 20% hand cannons, less damage to major combatants. This is bad. That's a nerf. That's a nerf. This is no good. They need to look at this again, but I'm not too bothered because I don't use these weapons. There are some Firefly and Dragonfly weapons I do use. Not many of them though, but there are some. I'm not saying I don't use them at all, but there are many better perks than these perks, to be honest. Right, what time am I on? 46 minutes. Alright, so the champion interaction changes. They're just quantifying it so that now, like for example, Queenbreaker doesn't have an unstoppable icon on it. Now it's going to have the icon and that it can't dual wield with the artifact. They're just clarifying it to people, basically. As far as my thoughts, I'm not too fussed either way. At least what people won't be confused now, but they still will be confused, I can guarantee it. Vigilance Wing is getting a buff in PvE. I've soloed with Vigilance Wing a couple of times, and the weapon was terrible. Last stand bonus, I thought it was active anyways when you were soloing PvE. I'm pretty sure it used to be, was it not? I'll have to look back at my old Vigilance Wing footage because I have soloed with it. But yeah, Vigilance Wing needs a buff in PvE. This isn't good enough. It would need also a buff damage-wise. Vigilance Wing's just a PvP weapon. Yeah. So we'll have to see. I'll have to pay close attention. Hierarchy is getting a massive buff. And the Guidance Ring. So if you shoot through someone else's Guidance Ring, you get missiles. Hierarchy of Needs is going to become back in the meta, especially for endgame GMs and Nightfalls and stuff like that. Very good. Nice changes. Deadman's Tail. Deadman's Tail is pretty good in the game now, so this is only but nice. Duality is getting a small buff. Yeah, nice. Navigator. Yeah, it's getting a big, huge 25% buff. Yeah, Strand Titan Banner of War with the melee changes. Meleeing a boss over and over. I hope we're not back to that again. It looks like we might be. Wicked Implement's getting a buff because it's a faster fire rate, where therefore more chill. It's going to be a king weapon for Overlord champions. Hard Shadow is going to get infinite invis now. You saw I had done a solo game with Hard Shadow recently, showing you how damn strong it is. It's only going to get stronger now for utility. This is going to give you Graviton forfeit levels of invis on any class that you would love or like. Insane buff, Worldland Zero. Some extras, some effects. I don't know about that buff. Devil's Rune's getting a buff, but as I said in the past with Devil's Rune, it doesn't do the damage. Maybe the Scorch is going to be enough because it now scorches the beam. Devil's Rune used to be OP, and then he got power crept, and then now it's rubbish. I tried it earlier on this year in a GM and it was rubbish. Now it might be usable-ish. But we'll have to see how that plays. It's still lacking a bit of damage on the beam. Maybe the Scorch will make up for the lack of damage. Tommy's Matchbook's getting massive thing. Tommy's Matchbook is going to be very good with Wings of Sacred Dawn Solar Warlock. You heard it here first. Basically, that's what it's going to be. Tommy's Matchbook, Wings of Sacred Dawn, that's going to be OP because Wings of Sacred Dawn's getting a rework. Winter Bite, they're nerfing it to account for the melee damage. We'll have to see how it might just end up leveling itself out, where it's similar to how it's performing now in the game. But you'll need a build to spec into Winterbite Glaive. Anti-champ changes, it's going through all of that. Conditional finality is interesting that it gets dual wielding champ mods depending on the element. Obviously talks about PvP. Now the power in the Edge of Fate. So, right, it's going to go from 10 to 200, that climb. The thing about this is you can unlimited farm power no matter how much you want. There are no weekly lockouts. Power is going to probably be the easiest that it's ever been because there are no damn weekly lockouts anymore. Do you understand that the power grind in Destiny 2 has been broken since Shadowkeep? Do you understand that? We've had 6 years worth of nonsensical stuff. The power was only good when you could grind power level platinum gear in Menagerie. Once Menagerie got sunset, we were screwed. In 2020, was it? Just before Beyond Light, the sunset Menagerie. Ever since then, we couldn't focus what loot we want. You can also focus what loot you want, and there's a planner. All of this information means that you can grind probably to 200 power level within 1 week or a few days. You can grind to your heart's content. No longer will it be that you need to do power progression grind for up to 4 to 6 weeks of the start of a season. I should know because I'm the one that's grinded seasons. Nonsensical to the amount of point of like grinding each weekly to make sure I get the right pinnacle drop, and then it bumps me, and then it bumps me, and then it bumps you. Then you can't get class items, then you can't get heavy weapons, and you're locked. Then you're farming powerfuls and primes for power-based gear. It's been a nightmare, man. In my opinion, all of this is going to be standardized with the portal, and it's going to be way better. You just want to dislike the portal because you want to dislike it, but it ultimately might be better than what we've got now, so you should be happy about that. If it's worse, then all right, it's worse. We need to complain, but I doubt it's going to be worse. The problem is that grind from 200 to 450, 500, 550. And then you lose that level and you go all the way back to 200 for Renegades. So that's like an arbitrary 6 months power grind that you're going to get. So you'll be able to grind for 6 months, lose a part of that power and gain it back. They're wanting to do a 6 months cadence, and that's what it looks like. All right, well, we'll have to see how long that takes. If it doesn't take that long to get to 500, 550, then this system won't be so bad. However, if it spends every waking moment to get to 550, then that's going to be a problem, because by the time you get to 550, you'll want to grind to 550 again for Renegades. Like when Renegades comes out, you'll be back to grinding to 550 again, and that could be an issue. And that's where I see an issue. It just depends how long that's going to take. That additional grind from 200 to 550. They said more about that. Infusion might be better. It all depends on the unstable cores and how many of them you get and how easy they are to get. But I can tell you, upgrade modules has been crazy. What I would have preferred them to do, when you infuse all your gear, to a certain point, it infuses your entire vault up. Yeah, instead of having weapons that are sitting at 1900 power, 1910, and then you've got to farm a damn pinnacle to get them infused for the GM or the high-end stakes raid or whatever. I think they could have done some global thing where you get a global buff and you get this material and it just buffs all of your energies or all of your primaries to a certain level. Yeah, because it's just a nightmare infusing it all. So we'll have to see exactly how it works, like on in-game. I don't want just paper, I need to see in-game how it works. The economy updates with the masterwork, and this is the last thing I'm thinking about. I don't really care about this because I know that with the system, it doesn't look too bad. It looks a bit of an improved system. Masterwork in Destiny 2 has never felt impactful ever since, 2017-18. So I can only look at this as a positive as opposed to what's been in the game now. I don't have much thoughts. There's sunset materials again. It seems as though every damn expansion there's sunset materials. They need to get a grip on the material systems, and we need to get a ground level of where mats are going to stay in the game, and we're not going to have too many of them. And there's going to be a ground level of like people are okay to farm these mats and not have the worry in 12 months' time that they're going to sunset a certain material that somebody's farmed up. Some materials in Destiny 2 hit very well. Ascendant shards, Ascendant Ascendant Shards, Enhancement Prisons, they work pretty well in the game. There's some other materials in the game that have never felt very good in the game and annoying and you know, and stuff like that. They're just nerfing material destinations here. That's what they're saying here. That's what they're saying. I would have liked them to expand on that. Maybe there should be some system where you harvest materials from certain planets by doing certain activities on certain planets, but they could have done it where you get a massive stack of them from completing a particular mission that's happens to be located on EDZ. So you complete a GM that's located on the EDZ, let's say Lake of Shadows, and you end up getting a lot of materials for that planet. But it looks like they want to get rid of planetary farming in that sort of sense. Yeah, I understand it. They're going to sunset not sunset, but they're going to move all of the Brave Arsenal to Xur's inventory. The Xur rework, it's a lot to take in at once. I haven't got too much thoughts on it. I don't use Xur much anyways. I do for class items, and they've said that Xur will always have class items. That is one change that popped out to me, and I thought, you know what, that's pretty good. Ada 1 is getting different changes as well. Again, I haven't got much thoughts on this. What I would say is with the transmog system, this is an opportunity for them where they could have allowed more leniency on how much transmog you can do per season. They're allowing for 20 bounties or something per season. It's not good enough. Give us more liberty to transmog a lot more armor. You know, even me as a D2 vet, I'm limited to like 20 pieces per character, because I haven't transmogged most of my armor, you know. I've only transmogged so much of it because it's a pain to do it. A lot of the transmog bounties are far too long. They take too long of a time to complete. They're too much of a hassle, and the XP for transmog bounties is far less than a weekly. You know, they should have buffed the XP on them. I just think the transmog system needs a massive rework, and I don't think what they've done here is good enough. Just slightly changing the bounties for them isn't good enough. The transmog system, people have forgot about the transmog system. Apart from a couple of D2 fashionists, apart from that, most people don't even do it. Only for certain pieces will you transmog. For example, if there's a new trial set out, you might transmog it. That's exactly how I operate. Might transmog a new piece that I really like, but other than that, I'm barely transmogging because the whole system's convoluted. And it looks to be still convoluted. That's the issue. They go through all this dev time, and then the conclusion is that it's still the same as what it was, and that's the issue, and everyone gets beaten down by it. Gunsmith, it looks like they're taking a lot away from him. Not 100% why they took his track away. I mean, I kind of liked getting rep for deleting weapons, but okay. Rahul. So the big thing is that you're going to need to do the Edge of Fate campaign legendary to get the exotic armor, and you will not be able to get it through Rahul. It says via completing the legendary campaign and not through Rahul. That's huge. You're going to have to do a legendary campaign. There's only one new exotic per class though, but don't skip the second and third characters on legendary Edge of Fate campaign. Do them. Don't pay silver to skip. Like we did in Lightfall, and well, I never did, but you lot did. Don't pay to skip the Legend campaign. Complete it once per character to guarantee that new exotic. As far as I'm taking, I don't skip campaigns ever anyways, because you get massive XP gains from them. Ghost mods are changing. Obviously, they're going to, because they're changing the whole system, so they will change alongside it. Very weird cryptic information about ciphers, that they have future plans for renegades for them. I don't really understand that, why they're going through it. The open access is great. This is the best time from the 8th of July, for anyone who's just starting. Don't start on the 15th. You need to start on the July 8th and grind a little bit for all some of the stuff that you might not have access to, with some old season pass exotics like Dragon's Breath, Wither Horde, stuff like that, old stuff. Quieter 1. See if you can craft a Quieter 1 in 1 week. For somebody who doesn't have, because it's such an important weapon to the game. So I would say anyone who's starting, don't start on the 15th, start on July 8th. Or start today, no time like the present. Okay, that's that information. Bungie sale. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, this TWAB was, like I say, massive. I think it was a bit too big, especially for me. They could have spread this information out a bit better. But they are making a lot of game changes, so that's not their fault that it's this big. But yeah, that's the thoughts on this. That's the TWAB. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you.